Now, the Academy Awards may have come and gone, but there's still so much that went on behind the scenes at the glamorous after-show parties that's yet to be reported. Which famous exes bumped into each other, who agonised over what to wear, and who was the last person standing. So here to give us the latest gossip, please welcome with great insight, showbiz reporter Ashley Pearson.
Thank you.
So first things first, did the right people walk away with the gongs on the night, do you think?
Absolutely. I think one of the biggest disappointments of the show last night, though, were that there were so few surprises. We basically knew and could have predicted who would have won in every category. I'm so pleased Colin Firth won. I think we all would have been devastated if he hadn't won. He's won all the awards preceding this, as has Natalie Portman. So again, we weren't really surprised when their names and Melissa Leo's name were called. Christian Bale as well won all the awards. So there were no upsets, there were no surprises, and I think that made for a somewhat more boring show than usual, because there really weren't anything that shocked us last night.
Do you think that the Americans were very pleased that there was such a about the British win?
Oh yeah, The King's Speech is really the biggest movie in the States right now. You know, Americans love British history, British culture. They're very much excited about this royal upcoming wedding. I think The King's Speech was the movie to beat, and actually was a bit of an upset in that The Social Network and Inception and some of the other movies really were shut out in many categories.
Yeah, well, Melissa Leo might find herself shut out, or certainly not invited back. Maybe that's the answer to your earlier question. That's how you don't get invited back to the Oscars.
How much do you think the whole run-up to the Oscars, how the film is advertised and promoted, because that's become a big business as well, hasn't
actually,
it?
Melissa Leo did a very controversial move and actually took out an ad herself with her own money in Variety to say, vote for Melissa Leo, which she did herself, which a lot of people found a bit obnoxious. But she said, you know, look, I really want to win this award, and she bought her own ad.
Is this a normal thing? Do
no.
She bought
her own ad. Normally, you've got people like Harvey Weinstein, you know, doing these big ad campaigns for you, which do have a big effect on who wins. But she did it herself.
So she went to all that trouble. Do you think, well, tell me what people saying backstage on the night after the profanity, because do you think that was engineered? Do you think that will help her case?
I think most Americans won't be as savvy as you and say that, you know, it was planned. They'll think it was a total blooper and it was I do. I don't think most people will get that. I think they'll...
So you're saying we're cynical?
Well, no, I think you're smart. I think you're very savvy. But, you know, for me, I think for most of us, we like to see who win, but we also like to see the clothes, the fashion, you know, who's there with who. I think that's at least as interesting about the Oscars as the films.
And a bit of a twist in the tale this year. They decided to go for unknown hosts, in as much as bringing in young, rising Hollywood stars, Anne Hathaway and actor James Franco, instead of the tried and tested Billy Crystal.
And, you know, it's been a bit of a disaster, according to all the critics.
I've only seen that 2-second clip, and that made me cringe then, watching Anne Hathaway. Did that continue through the whole of the thing?
And it's so cringeworthy. And what you'll find when you watch it back is that she is trying valiantly on her young shoulders to save this show. She's singing, she's dancing. And James Franco, who looks sedated, is so mellow. And so, I mean, he barely can raise a smile, and she's doing everything, tap dancing to get this thing going. And he is, if I were her, I wouldn't be speaking to him anymore after last night.
You wouldn't kick him out, though, would you? Let's be honest.
Why have they done that? Is it the demographics? Are they going for the younger version?
Yes, they absolutely wanted a demographic. They wanted a younger demographic. That's why we saw Justin Timberlake out on stage presenting. Anne Hathaway was asked first. She said no. When they said James Franco will do it with you, she said yes. But they really didn't give her somebody worthy. It should have been Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman would have been great.
Can we just go to the clothes? So, in your opinion, who looked the worst on the red carpet?
Let's
not go for the best. Yes, let's
the most fun is the worst. Now, Nicole Kidman always gets it right, but last night, I think she did not.
No. Really?
A very strange, white, asymmetrical dress.
Awful.
And you know how skinny she is. And look, she looks wide in that dress. And she is not wide.
Well, wide, no.
Wider.
Some of us know what wide looks like.
To be honest, my upper arm probably could give her a run for her money there.
Anybody else?
Yes, also I thought Scarlett Johansson, who is a beautiful girl, wore a very odd dress that looked like lace curtains. And see-through, and I didn't think it was an Oscar gown. Did you?
See-through? No, that's not good.
Well, you've done that, Sherry.
You always wear see-through.
I know, but that's different.
And Sharon Stone, who looked like an ostrich or some kind of cuckoo bird, had landed on her shoulder and had very, very severe makeup. Yeah, she was posing as if her life depended on it on the red carpet last night. Walking up and down 3 times to make sure everybody got a picture.
No!
Stop
Yeah.
it.
Can I say, in these recessed times, and, you know, we talk about not, you know, and we had that whole poison chalice handed to us from America with their loans. Was there any kind of carefulness in the goodie bag, or did they just carry on regardless?
The goodie bags have been scaled down ever since actors were told they had to pay taxes on what they received. But one thing you'll notice last night is that there was almost no jewelry. Did you notice? There were so many bare shoulders, very small earrings. Every time there's a recession, actors always tone it down with the diamonds. They don't want to look obnoxious or unfeeling. So there were jewels, but they were much more minimal.
Talking of jewels, which was the jewel of the night in terms of parties? Was it Elton or Madonna and Demi Moore's?
Well, Madonna and Demi Moore is filled with people who are never probably going to hold an Oscar themselves. So I would say the Vanity Fair party is always the place to be. There was a great turnout last night. Even Madonna showed up at the Vanity Fair party, even though she had her own party. I want to say really quickly, Natalie Portman was not planning to wear that dress. She was wearing Dior. And John Galliano was arrested for anti-Semitic remarks a few days ago. And she's Israeli. So she decided not to wear that dress and had last minute...
And who could blame her?
Who could blame her? Yeah. She looked great.
Ashley, thank you. Please stick.
Stay on.
I know you do. Don't worry, we won't let her go. You can grill her after the show, Denise. But thank you so much, Ashley.
My
Pearson,
pleasure.
everyone.
Thank you.